Hide me now under your wing. Cover me within your mighty hand. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are King over the flood, and I will be still. Know you are God, and I will be still. Know you are God. Hide me now under your wing. Cover me within your mighty hand. Arhikkyatananmagalum enikegidum deyanide. Arhikkyatananmagalum enikegidum deyanide. യാചിക്കാത്തനന്മകൾ പോലുമേ എനിക്കേകുവോന്നു സ്തുതി. യാചിക്കാത്തനന്മകൾ പോലുമേ എനിക്കേകുവോന്നു സ്തുതി. നന്ദിയോടെ ഞാൻ സ്തുതി പാടിടും എൻ്റെ യേശുനാഥ. എനിക്കായി നീ ചെയ്തൊരു നന്മയ്ക്കും എന്നും നന്ദി ചൊല്ലുന്നു ഞാൻ. അർഹിക്കാത്ത നന്മകളും എനിക്കേകിടും ദയാനിധേ. അർഹിക്കാത്ത നന്മകളും എനിക്കേകിടും ദയാനിധേ. യാചിക്കാത്ത നന്മകൾ പോ
ബി എ ലൈറ്റിന്റെ മറ്റൊരു എപ്പിസോഡിലേക്ക് ഞങ്ങളെ കാണുന്ന ഏവർക്കും സ്നേഹത്തോടെ സ്വാഗതം. നിങ്ങൾ ദൈവത്തിന്റെ മന്ദിരം എന്നും ദൈവത്തിന്റെ ആത്മാവ് നിങ്ങളിൽ വസിക്കുന്നു എന്നും അറിയുന്നില്ലയോ? ദൈവത്തിന്റെ മന്ദിരം നശിപ്പിക്കുന്നവനെ ദൈവം നശിപ്പിക്കും. ദൈവത്തിന്റെ മന്ദിരം വിശുദ്ധമല്ലോ, നിങ്ങളും അങ്ങനെ തന്നെ. ദൈവത്തിന്റെ ആത്മാവ് വസിക്കുന്ന നമ്മുടെ ശരീരത്തെ വിശുദ്ധിയിൽ സൂക്ഷിക്കേണ്ടതിന്റെ പ്രാധാന്യത്തെക്കുറിച്ചും അതോടൊപ്പം നമ്മുടെ ശ്രദ്ധയില്ലാത്ത ഭക്ഷണ രീതികൾ നമ്മെ രോഗത്തിന് അടിമയാക്കി തീർക്കാതെ ദൈവത്തിന് പ്രയോജനകരമായി ഉപയോഗിക്കുവാൻ പാകപ്പെടുത്തേണ്ടത് എങ്ങനെയെന്നും കഴിഞ്ഞ എപ്പിസോഡിൽ നമ്മോട് വിശദീകരിച്ചത് MFCC ഷാർജ സഭാംഗം ബ്രദർ അനിലാണ്. ഈ പഠനത്തിന്റെ രണ്ടാം ഭാഗം ഇന്ന് നമുക്ക് ശ്രദ്ധിക്കാം. വെൽക്കം ടു ബി എ ലൈറ്റ്.
Praise be to God. Welcome back to another session. Happy to be back here. Praise be to God once again. I hope you all had been through the last episode where we discussed about nutrition basics. We saw what nutrition was about, and we also saw what are macronutrients and what are the micronutrients. This time we're going to start off where we left. So we want to just take a small overview of what we did last time. We saw that a body has 3 macronutrients needed in large quantities. This is carbohydrates, proteins and fats, as is shown here. Sources of carbs, proteins and fats, I've listed it out here. Now, all these are good. I'm not saying this is not good. What I want to start off, however, is that we are the temple of God. Just reminding you once again that we are God's temple. Now, what's the meaning of being the temple of God? Now, when a man makes something out of his own hands, he owns it. He owns it in more than just possessing it. He really cares for it. It's like you baking a cake. If you bake a cake, you take pride in it because you've made it with your own hands. If you make a dish, you take pride in it. It's not, you could buy a dish from the market, from the supermarket, but you made this dish yourself and you know how to describe it and you own it and you own everything around it. You have a certain emotion attached to it. So likewise, God has a certain emotion attached to each one of our bodies because He has made us with His own hands. Now, we don't seem to be so aware that He has crafted us with His own hands. But one thing is for sure, the enemy, the devil, knows this very well. And so his attack is on this temple. And it is time for us to realize that we are under attack. And it's time for us to shore up our defenses and to strike back at the same place. Hallelujah. Praise be to God. Now, quickly, let me just remind you that when we are not aware, then we are going on the path of destruction. As in Hosea it says, my people are destroyed due to their lack of knowledge. It is our lack of knowledge that actually destroys us. So now let us get some knowledge. I don't want to be very detailed in all this because it's practically impossible to learn a lot of stuff given the limited time. And moreover, not everybody needs to know everything, but practically you can see ourselves, we can see ourselves and see where we are wrong and where we are right. Philippians 3:19 says, their destiny is destruction, their God is their stomach. Now we're talking about people who do not know. We're not talking about sinners or just, if your God is your stomach, then destruction is your destiny. So we must see how are we focused? Are we focused on our stomach? Whatever we do, are we going to focus on what goes into our stomach? Or do we have other things in life that really matter to us? So we need to, I'm not saying that all food is bad. I'm saying that if you eat carelessly, then you are on the way to destruction. So let's examine ourselves. Like we said last time, let's just get back to where we left last time once again. We have the carbs, proteins and fats, the three macronutrients needed in larger quantities. Apart from this, you have micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals, needed in lesser quantities but absolutely necessary. Now we are going to take carbs. Carbs are mostly from grains, roots, milk, fruit, nuts. There are many other things. Let's go to protein. Proteins are from seafood, white or red meat, milk and cheese, eggs, beans, lentils. Fats, now these are good fats. We're talking about good fats, are from avocados. A lot of other vegetables are there which gives you good fat. Fish, good fatty fish. Cheese, not processed cheese, I mean the real cheese that you make. Butter, again it's good butter with no additives. Coconut in any form, coconut oil, pure coconut oil that is, or even just raw coconut, coconut cream, whatever it is, but if it doesn't come in a can, it's better. If it's coming in a can, remember it's actually having preservatives. So these are basically what we eat or what we should be eating. Now, where we must use judgment is in how to use this mix. Now, for example, if you are talking of carbs, most of us have the problem of having extra fat in our body. So we are actually, when you look at a diet, you cannot prescribe a diet for anybody per se. If a man is, say, he is supposed to be 60 kilos, but his actual weight is 90 kilos. We need to see, we need to assess why he is heavier. Is he bulked up? Is he better in protein? Or how much of fat he has? You can assess yourself. If you have a lean body and if you are well muscled, then your fat content should be relatively lesser than somebody who is nice and rotund. Now, if you just pinch your belly, you will know approximately if you are fat, obese, or normal. So if you can pinch your stomach, and if it's within, say, a centimeter or half an inch of thickness, then you're okay to go. If you are more than half inch or up to 1 inch, then you are in the danger zone. But if you are above that, if you cannot pinch your stomach, if you have those big handles, then you are really in the danger zone. You have to really take drastic action. Now let's take it this way. You need to take surgical action immediately, or after some years, depending on what age you are in, you will have to face surgery, and that would be a major surgery wherein you'll have to change your diet and also be on medication. You'll have to have 3 benefits at that time. You would have had a surgery, you will be on medication, and you will be starving. You will not eat anything good. So the choice is yours, brother. The choice is yours, sister. You can either change your diet today, now, drastically, or you will wait for another 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, we don't know, depending on your age and your condition, and then get all these bad things. So I would suggest, look at it in a very, very thing. Now, if you have a lot of fat in your body, you have to reduce this. You have to reduce this. You cannot consume grains, roots, have a lot of milk, have a lot of fruit. Fruit has a lot of sugar. So you have to be wise in using fruit. Nuts also has a lot of sugar and other things. So you need to be reducing this. You need to be judicious in this. Now normally for a man normally needs around 40 grams of sugar. A lady, this is for a man, a lady needs around 30 grams of sugar per day. This is the requirement per day. If you exceed this, and if your metabolic activity or your activity is low, the rest of the sugar will be stored as fat, adding on to the fat you already have. Now that's not a very good thing. Now if you want this 40 gram of sugar, you can get it from this also. So actually, this group you can in fact avoid. Will be avoided is the question. As Asians, as Indians, we call ourselves either non-vegetarian or vegetarian. We don't have much other things. Either we are vegetarian or we are non-vegetarian. Now a vegetarian diet would include a lot of rice, a little bit of vegetables, a little bit of pulses. Where is the vegetarian diet in this? You are not a vegetarian. You are eating grains, more of rice, wheat, other things, and the vegetable part is very little. So we cannot call ourselves vegetarian in that case. If you are a non-vegetarian, also you will be eating a lot of grains, except that you will have a small piece of fish or chicken or whatever the meat may be, or maybe an egg. So that makes you claim that you are a non-vegetarian. Now the fact is predominantly we eat grains. Now look at yourselves, each one of you individually. Look at yourself. If you have a lot of flab around your belly or your thighs, breasts, wherever it is, hands, you need to be aware. All that can be reduced with a proper nutrition. Now, let me just tell you about what actually benefits. I'm just going to rub this off. If your healthy life choice, you have three things. One is your nutrition. Exercise, and let's call the third factor as genetics. Now we want to know how much of each this matters. The study says that genetics is 10%. Only 10% of what you are depends on your genes. I will say it's not even 10%, it's less than 10%. Exercise. Most of us think we are super because of our exercise, because of our regime, because we go to the gym once in a week or twice in a week. Unfortunately, exercise also is only 10%. That leaves us with nutrition as 80% of what we are. Do we care? Do we know about nutrition? We don't know. We claim to know, but the fact is we know very little. Now, nutritional needs are different for different individuals. But if you want to be healthy, it is very important that you look after your nutrition the way you need to. If you are having a lot of fat, you need to work towards reducing that fat. We will get to that. Before that, I want to explain to you how the human body processes what we eat predominantly, and I am going to take into account mainly the carbs, because what I have noticed is we are short on protein and short on fats, but we take a lot of this. So let me see how the human body processes this. Now, the human body is wonderful. God has made it as wonderfully well. So when we take this, it's actually converted as sugar. It's converted as sugar, and the sugar, when it enters the bloodstream, this is all this is converted and it enters the bloodstream as sugar. When the sugar is in the blood, insulin is released. Insulin transports the sugar to where the energy is required. The balanced sugar, some of it is stored in the liver as glycogen, and the rest is converted as adipose tissue and stored as fats in the body. Now you know this. When you eat anything, it's converted as sugar. It could be anything. It could be honey, it could be the best agave, whatever it is, it will be converted as sugar. insulin acts on sugar and takes it first to wherever the energy is required. Sugar is absolutely essential for the body. Sugar is not sent out of the body in the way water is or the way vitamins are. In any excess is stored by the body. It is a reflex of the body. Then we have the liver, which actually stores sugar as glycogen. The rest, what the liver cannot store, is converted as adipose tissue and stored as fats. Now, this process is known as digestion. When the digestion occurs, the body is actually functioning in a very, very high metabolic rate. Whenever you are digesting your food, you are tired, you feel tired, you have a sense, you want to just sleep, lie down, so that your body, your digestion can happen. This is a very natural reaction. You might have seen animals, for example the lion, after a hunt, after the meal, the lion sleeps. Probably during the daytime or nighttime, after the meal, they sleep. They don't sleep because they are tired after the hunt, they sleep because they are tired after the meal they have had. So it is required for the blood to come into your body, into where your stomach, and deprive other organs of blood, so that the meal, all the goodness that you have now taken can be taken and transported back to the other tissues and organs. So this is a very natural thing. So don't be surprised that you are tired after the meal. This is what happens, especially when you have a lot of sugar in your meal. Now, when you are taking the sugar, the insulin is released. Insulin, and there's a very high level of sugar in your blood. Now, after about 12 hours, the sugar level starts dropping. When the sugar level drops, there is something that is happening in your body that's really, really useful. We will come to that. Keep watching. We have here a diagram of an artery that is well satiated. That means it is now having a lot of sugar in it. Now, the insulin will take this sugar and transport it to the different tissues and use it as energy first, as we had said in the beginning. The rest, some of it will be taken to the liver and stored as glycogen, and the rest will be converted as fats and deposited in your body. Now, this happens when the sugar is high. After some time, the sugar will now slowly reduce. You will see that a lot of the sugar, after about 12 hours, say, we will lose a lot of sugar. When the sugar becomes low in your blood, what would happen is the reverse happens. Now, the liver that had stored the glycogen will now release the glycogen, and it will be converted as sugar and sent back into the blood. When this happens, the liver actually starts to work. Most of us never ever let our liver work, and this happens normally at about 12 hours after the last meal you have had. Now, what happens when you have your last meal at 9 o'clock, say in the night, or 10 o'clock in the night? You have your breakfast at around 7 or 8 in the morning, which is you are fasting for a period of about 10 or 11 hours, which means your blood, the artery really hasn't had any chance to draw from the liver. So you're not used to your liver. But if you skip your breakfast, then you will let your liver work. You let your liver work, the liver will release glycogen, which will be converted as sugar and used by the thing. Now, If you skip breakfast, let's say, and you go for lunch, if you have your lunch at 1 o'clock, which means you had dinner at 10 in the night, and then you are going to have lunch at 1 o'clock, you are approximately fasting for around 15 hours. When you fast for 15 hours, the liver would have given up a lot of glycogen, and now let's say it has very little glycogen left. It has very little glycogen left. When you sleep in the night, and sleep is very important for this, when you sleep in the night, the fat that was deposited will now be burnt back and converted as glycogen and stored here. The fat, the adipose tissue, is converted back and stored if your liver has released this. Now, most of us don't give this an opportunity to happen because we have our breakfast. Now, I want to just spend some time on this. What is the most important meal of the day? Biblically, they're used to having just one meal or maximum 2 meals a day. The Last Supper was a dinner. The heavy meal was during the night, dinner time, when they had their dinner and they were then going to sleep. We see that many times. We see when Jesus fed 5,000, the 5,000 that were fed by Jesus, Jesus fed them after 3 days. They have been with me 3 days now and they hunger. Give them something lest they faint on the way back, Jesus says. My question is, how is Jesus not careful? Is he not a caring person? He is caring. He cares more than you and me. And he fed them only after 3 days. Now we are people who eat 3 meals a day, which is abundance, overeating. And as a result, we have a liver that doesn't function. We have too much of fat in our bodies. How do we reverse this? Now, breakfast is a meal that damages you. Breakfast damages you. I hope you get it very clear. Because when you eat breakfast, you are stopping your liver from working. The liver is the largest organ in your body. It's on your right side. It's around this place. It's the size of a football. And most of us, around 50, 55, will get a condition known as fatty liver cirrhosis. This is quite common. And this happens because your liver has never ever worked in its real totality. The liver is the emergency reserve for sugar. Whenever you do any excessive activity, when your blood sugar comes down, the liver is the organ that pumps the sugar back into the blood. And the liver draws its source from either the food you eat or fat in your body. So if you stop eating food for a good amount of time, the liver will absolutely empty itself out and draw the fat. So the way you should actually lose weight, lose fat, is by fasting. No amount of exercise will let you lose that much of weight. So we need to fast, and it's known as intermittent fasting. If you can just skip your breakfast and delay your lunch and have a small window of eating, that is, you have your lunch at say around 4 o'clock in the evening, and then you have a dinner at around 9 o'clock, you have a 5-hour window of eating. That means you're giving your body enough time to process its own, make its own choices, and the body will really appreciate and it will show. Do you want to be healthy, or do you want to be a patient to things? Now, this habit of breakfast like a king is a slogan that is coined by the breakfast companies, because most of the cereal manufacturers and all the manufacturers, they want to push their produce, and the best way to consume more is by increasing the number of meals. So if you start early, if they catch them early, they will make a lot of money. Imagine if they say, no, don't have breakfast. They stand to lose a lot of revenue. So please don't let them use your body. Your body is the temple of God. We will see you soon. Praise the Lord.
ബി എ ലൈറ്റിന്റെ മറ്റൊരു എപ്പിസോഡിൽ കാണുന്നവരെയും ദൈവം നമ്മെ ഓരോരുത്തരെയും കാത്ത് സൂക്ഷിക്കട്ടെ. ഗോഡ് ബ്ലെസ് യു ആൾ.